Hi, welcome to the Federal. I'm Harish Upadhyaya. Surya starrer Jai Bhim has got critical acclaim and wider appreciation for showing the kind of atrocities faced by tribals and also the lack of support from the whole system. Two characters in this movie actually play a very vital role in real life as well. One is the character played by Surya of Justice Chandru. Back then he was Advocate Chandru. And the other is played by Prakash Raj, the character of IG Perumalsamy. Today joining us is real life IG Perumalsamy. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Harish Upadhyaya. I'm very glad to get associated with you.
Thank you, sir. We've seen the kind of wide appreciation the movie has got, bringing back focus on the kind of problems faced by tribals, discrimination faced by them, lack of support from the system. Coming to the movie first, looking at the movie, the kind of characters and the details of this movie, how close is it to reality, especially your character and some of the crucial other characters?
The alleged incident of atrocity and ultimately the death of Raj Karno happened in the year 1993. And then 1994, the matter was referred to me at the instance of Mr. Chandru, who was a senior advocate at the time, through the High Court. Justice Mishra, he referred that this matter will be investigated personally by Crime Branch CID, by IG Perumalsamy. That is how it came to me. So it was a big challenge to start sensibly, purposefully, the inquiry. Because the first priority was to identify all the whereabouts of the dead man. And it happened 1 year ago, 1 year earlier. So with a lot of effort that was established by getting a record, a case record in a police station which was 50 kilometers or so from the scene of the incident. It showed the photograph of a person and only the forensic report of post-mortem. Then I had to get confirmation whether the photograph is the person who disappeared. I brought it to the village and it was confirmed by the wife and other relatives. So then, of course, the inquiry started. So this is how I started the whole thing and sent a report later to the High Court. During the inquiry, it became clear that his family, Raja Karno, and his family members were brought to the police station on a complaint of theft in the local village, suspecting that he was the thief. During inquiry to the police, he said he was not responsible for any theft. And the family has been living in that area for nearly 20-30 years. They have not come to any adverse notice. They used to make bamboo baskets and go for odd jobs in the fields. That is a profession. So the police went after them, blindly questioning. Mere questioning would have been all right, but beating and torturing beyond tolerant limit, and ultimately resulting in death of this person. So that was the worst part of it. So what we have seen in the film really happened according to my inquiries.
Okay. One aspect that clearly stands out here is that it's shown in the movie as well. There's pressure on you to ensure that your report doesn't expose the department. And this is something that we have seen in several judicial commissions or other commissions of inquiries that have been set up where, reports from people within the department kind of camouflages the atrocities or the misdoings of people within the department. What was the kind of pressure that you faced, whether from the department or the government, to ensure that your report doesn't expose the misdoings of fellow policemen in the department?
To be very honest and truthful, there is absolutely no pressure from the department. The concerned officers were probably aware of the incident, and there has been bargaining going on with the victim's family to silent. So after that, Justice Mishra chose me because he knew about my character. And even if some pressure came, I wouldn't have bothered to be swayed by it. But maybe people knew that I won't budge, so they didn't come to me. That's the fact.
But were there subtle messages that sent across to you to ensure that, find out what your line of investigation is? Or is there a possibility of you compromising to ensure that the department's name doesn't get sullied?
See, my job was to find out the truth. So I was only looking at the events that happened and to bring out a very truthful account of the whole thing. I made extensive inquiries in the field, in the villages, concerned people, scores of people I inquired. It happened. And it did occur to me that I should try to whitewash or do anything like that. It is not in my character.
All right. One aspect that's been spoken about, perhaps generated some bit of controversy post the release, is the scene of Mr. Prakash Raj, or Mr. Prakash Raj's character, slapping one of the brokers and saying, speak in Tamil while you're speaking in another language. Is that something that happened in real life?
It didn't happen.
Okay.
For maybe being a movie, they wanted to have some sort of sensation. In that position, I wouldn't have done that. Without slapping, also one could have inquired sternly, seriously. That is my view.
Okay, it's the creative liberty that the makers have taken, you say. Ever since this incident, sir, your report went on to kind of throw light on the problems within the system, the problems that tribals face, the lack of support from the system. Has it changed, especially with the police, the way they approach some of these cases? Has it changed post that? Where do you see the Tamil Nadu police today in terms of their interaction with the tribals, or when there are cases or allegations against them in any case, how are they viewed?
I wouldn't say that has created any impact and brought about any change in the attitude of persons in dealing with these downtrodden people. And actually, one can recall an incident in the southern part of the state, where two people, father and son, were beaten to death without any property. So it happened. So people's attitude, not only the police, I will say, it is a reflection on the society itself. So police is part of the society. And what happens in the society also is there in the police force.
Yes.
A lot of catechism and then regular sort of classes are taken. But still, the arrogant attitude of some of the cops, once they put on the uniform, they think that they themselves are above law. That tendency is there. And at the bottom level, so they go uncontrolled. Maybe the immediate senior officers should monitor the activities. And then every day at the station level, there are roll calls and advices, catechism and all that. So that should be effectively done. Any misdemeanor in this line, in not only torturing, even impolite handling of visitors to the station, should be taken seriously. Then and there, if it is pointed out and corrected, it will have an impact. It's a continuous process one should do. But again, I will say, what do we see in the society?
True.
So,
yeah,
one segment, yeah. So the people at the margin are really taken for granted. So the tendency is there.
In fact, you mentioned the society. That's where I come to my next question. Despite having some very good social reformers like Periyar and others, despite having education levels far above many other states in the country, if you look at the NCRB data or other data emerging from the state, Tamil Nadu has one of the highest number of cases of atrocities against the tribal, or as you mentioned, against people in the margins of the society. What do you think is the problem? Is it one, the society, how they treat, or you think there's a far effective mechanism of reporting these issues in Tamil Nadu compared to other states?
It's more psychological than certain communities think that they are superior. Still, in the village, in the cities, you may not notice, towns, you may not notice. In the villages, that superiority complex is very much there. So, one could see a totally adverse sort of behavior towards the downtrodden people. Maybe it will take a long time for them to change. Every village should have a Periyar convert to change.
Mr. Perumalsamy, thanks a lot for joining us today and giving us an idea on how things panned out back then. And it's good to know that probably there's some bit of awareness that's being created by this movie, and it will hopefully bring on many more changes in the society. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Definitely, movie has had a terrific impact, as all movies do. That's the advantage of movie. This movie carries a very good message. I think people will take it seriously. It will definitely have an impact. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Calling me.
Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you very much.
That's it in this
Bye-bye.
special interview. Keep watching more videos from the Federal YouTube channel. Also log into thefederal.com for more news, analysis, and in-depth stories.